Hi everyone, this is Mr. Allen. Just wanted to go over quickly kind of what I was looking for as far as improving the appearance of your spreadsheet for Activity 1.5. I'm not looking for much right now. I don't expect you to be experts in Excel or any other spreadsheet software, but you should be able to use the basic features, I think, pretty easily. They are quite intuitive. So I've written up this quick little sheet that I'll post, improving your shareability of the spreadsheet, phase one, and phase one just meaning it's going to be, the bare bones that we're looking for. So the first diagram here, the first figure, is essentially what your work will look like when you pull it up. And then what I'm thinking is something more like this as your final product. So you can see I just kind of took out this information up top that was not really relevant to the person to whom you're providing the data. The table number itself might be of interest to you because you may need to justify where you got this information later on. So storing that or putting it onto another spreadsheet, a second sheet in the same file might be a good idea. But the person who's looking at the information will not be interested in that later on. And then other things like the fact that this says sex or gender, male, 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 female. Obviously, when I see males and females, I know what the category was. Same sort of thing with geography here. I see Canada all the way across. That seems like something that we should be able to summarize into a single title. Grouping all the male information, the female information under one heading would make sense as well. And then kind of looking at these smaller titles, all groups, all ages, age groups, all ages, and so on. Just cleaning that up to make them as simple as possible makes a lot of sense as well. And of course, median age being a decimal, probably not necessary. I can make that decision, but the big thing is to sort of keep it simple and try to make it look a little bit better. So this is sort of what I ended up with. And again, fairly neat looking columns. The top covers the fact that it's age and sex for Canada. Males and females kind of grouped off again. I cut the edge here a little bit when I took the screenshot, but otherwise you can see pretty clearly what everything is. And I just kind of listed down here some of the things I had done. So I'm going to run through them on the spreadsheet itself. And I'll make this a bit bigger. So again, to the top here, these top, four lines, I guess, aren't very relevant to me. So clicking on the left edge here and pulling down, I can highlight them, right click, and I can delete them. And they're gone. As we said here, male, 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 probably don't need that written 3 times. Again, if I highlight, right click, this time I'm going to choose Format Cells, and then under Alignment, I'm going to merge those cells. And a message pops up that says basically only one of those, or only the information from one of those cells will be kept, and of course that's fine. And so males now covers those 3 cells. I can center it, sort of up here. Again, I think if I right click Format Cells, I could probably have got there that way as well. You can also see that it pops up here. So sort of all these things are options for me. Same thing with the females now. I will highlight, format them, merge them, and then I can check here as well. Horizontally, I'm going to center, and same message, no big deal. Now, because these are titles or headings for something more, I'm going to go ahead and make them a little bit bigger. Maybe 16 looks pretty good. My information is getting squished here. This is what happens to numbers when they can't display. And so I can hover here between the cells, left click, and I can drag across, make the cell bigger. I can also highlight from the top all the different cells. And again, right click, and then I can choose column width. So we have some different options here. And I don't know what a good column width is. 15 looks like it's too big, but I can play with that as well. And then things like 90 years and over, again, just too much information in the title for the size of the data in there. So something like just 90 plus years seems like a more reasonable title for that column. I can shrink it down. Decimals, you can sort of see here I have decimals in some spots, not in others. My preference would be to have the same format for my data all the way down, especially with numbers. So I can highlight, again right click, format the cells, and then the number tab here, and I'm going to choose the number, and I can choose 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 0 decimal places. I can choose some formatting down here as well. So whatever works for you there, you can make those choices. And you can see they line up a little bit better. One simple rule with numbers, I would say 99% of the time, right aligning your numbers makes more sense. Oops. Sorry, the numbers specifically, you can see they are right aligned to start. The one exception would be a situation exactly like we have here, where all the information in each column is the same length, or at least will be the same length once I fix the decimals in the final column. In that case, centering it actually makes it look a little bit better. If I had one number here that was smaller, I don't know how well you can see that, but it does look odd to see large numbers with a smaller number in between, with the numbers being the same size. I think centering looks better. So you're sort of just making decisions about what makes sense and what doesn't in this case. Now, there are other options you can sort of play with if you really want to. Things like shading. If you really chose to, or you really wanted to, you could choose to shade in every second column with a slightly different color, or shade in all the male information with the same color, and the female information with another color. You could work with borders to kind of group things off. But at this point, I think just sort of getting the tables looking neat and nice is really what you're interested in. And again, sort of this is what I came up with as a kind of final version of my table. And I think it looks plenty clean enough, plenty good enough to share with other people. And just notice now as I scroll down that this last column here, I do have some larger numbers in it, and so probably would have been better to kind of go with right align for most things, although it doesn't look terrible at that point either, I suppose. Your call at that point. I'm not going to criticize one way or the other. You're trying to make sure that it's neat, easily read, and no extraneous information. You notice I've got rid of the footer and so on in the version that I was actually submitting. I still have that information somewhere else on the sheet, actually, on the second sheet behind it, just in case I need it later on. Just going to take a quick peek here, see if there's anything I forgot, and I don't think there is. Now, just to remind you, in this case, I'm using Excel specifically, but really all spreadsheets work pretty similarly. The highlight, right-click probably works most of the time, and if not, then of course, towards the top of your screen, you have things like merge and center is an option up here. Insert rows, insert columns. Oh yeah, so sorry, that was one thing I didn't do, I guess. Okay, so last thing to add here, we're looking to put a title on the entire sheet. So highlight the top row. Up here, we're going to insert. So we're inserting an entire row. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than the other ones. 20 seems good. And I would like it to span the entire width of the chart. So highlight again, right click, format the cells, and we're going to merge those cells and put in our final title, Canada, whatever else we need to include.